A Wrong Decision by Mo Zhe.
Story is fictitious and any resemblance to individuals or events is just a coincidence. Characters' ideas do not represent the writer's viewpoints.
The milky white of the hospital walls swanned around me. Burying my head in my hands, I groaned. Why? The path of life was supposed to help me, but I trod wrongly. The hospital was my least favorite place, yet it had become my second home. When the technology was discovered, it seemed impossible. After all, how can one's decision affect the rest of one's life and be unchangeable? People scoffed at the very mention of the idea. However, technology had become a reality. Although not part of everyday life, it was essential at the age of 21. It would affect one's life forever. It was unchangeable. It was irreversible. It was a life-changing moment in both good and bad ways. Unfortunately, mine was the latter. To be honest, life for me was a series of ups at first. I got into a top secondary school, then a top junior college, and thereafter a prestigious university. I was 20 then, and was excited, or rather exhilarated, at the prospect of the path. It just seemed so high-tech and top-notch. However, after I made the decision, I would hate it and eventually absolutely detest it. Finally, I was 21. I received the government's letter asking me to report to the government central agency GCA to receive the path of life choice. Fast-forwarding a few months at the GCA, I took the hyperpad to the 5th floor where a government official was waiting for me. He escorted me along with some others, whose birthdays are on the same date as mine, into an official-looking transport vehicle. We arrived at Path A. There you were supposed to choose the most important aspect of the job, whether indoors or outdoors. Being the lazy type, I walked through the indoor path and saw Path B. I was again asked a question, this time whether I wanted to be in the government service or private sector. At 21, all I wanted was a secure job, and private firms were risky. Path C was next. It asked whether I wanted to practice law or medicine. Being cautious, I opted for medicine despite my distaste for hospitals. That turned out to be the first step to the wrong path with any characters. Ah, Path D, I said to myself. Path D was the second-last path and the life-changing one. I was starting to regret my earlier decision to go into medicine, but I had no other choice, and so I thought. I prayed fervently that I would be assigned to a pharmaceutical role, anything but blood. Blood was my weakness. Taking a deep breath, I walked down the central path. At the end of it was a column with a letter on it. I took it with shaking hands, too shaky to even open the flap. I just stood there like an idiot, staring at the pristine envelope. Finally, I mustered up my courage to open it. No, I howled. There was a referral letter from the Government West Hospital GWH. It stated that I would become a surgeon. Why did I make that decision? Why? I yelled at my reflection in the mirrors dotting the path. There was no reply. Why? I had become a total maniac, mussing up my hair and banging my head on the ground. The warning sign at Path clearly stated, "Take note that all decisions made are final and non-reversible. If you make the wrong decision, too bad." Surely someone with a sense of humor came up with that. Why? I gave a low moan of despair. The next few days were me sinking into depression. The letters from the government flowed in thick and fast, urging me to report to GWH to begin my career. I ignored all of them. The wrong decision made me lose all my pride and sanity. It caused me to, quite ironically, fall into a pit that I had dug. The wrong decision, I thought. The wrong decision will cost me my life. Eventually, when the letter warning me of execution if duties were not carried out arrived, I could no longer procrastinate. I resigned myself to my fate and dragged my lethargic body to the hospital. The senior surgeons there greeted me with a warm smile, but I did not reciprocate. I was told to observe a surgical procedure. When it ended, I immediately dashed to the toilet and threw up, after which I slumped on a bench nearby. I buried my head in my hands. The wrong decision was terrible, it was horrible. I could never stand it or go along with it. However, the hospital would become my second home. It would be where I would work for the rest of my life as a surgeon. Unpleasant things awaited me if I did not cooperate. I wanted to argue, but I could not. It was somewhat like a blackmail. Some wrong decisions only last for a few minutes, like choosing the wrong game to play. There are those which last for hours, like choosing the wrong outfit to wear. Others last for years, like choosing the wrong secondary school. Yet there are rare ones like mine that lasts for a lifetime, like choosing a wrong, irreversible career on the path of life. A decision should be deliberated, especially if it involves a life or death situation. One that is made on the spur of the moment may affect one's life. Even a seemingly small decision can be an everlasting regret.
Dishing up a technique. Start your story with the setting. Quote from the story: "The milky white of the hospital walls swanned around me." Follow-up activity. Write a composition about a wrong decision. Your composition should be based on one or more of these pictures. Consider these points. What was the wrong decision? How was the character in the story affected? Like, share, and subscribe to join us in our celebration of children's writing on YouTube. Story Coolhouse, your companion in learning.